Peace, y'all. Hold on. Oh, they whack. I can't do live videos on my Instagram. Okay. Well, bump Instagram. Anyways, I came on here to show you guys how to repot some of your veggie scraps. I'm fresh home. I've been in Raleigh all week, so it's been great to have a getaway, but I'm also happy to be back home at my garden because I've been needing to take care of my baby. So y'all know I'm a big proponent for growing your own food. I'm over here making a mess. For growing your own food, saving your veggie scraps, composting, all of that jazz. So today I wanted to show you how I'm doing that. So I was cooking some cabbage a week or two ago, and I put all the bottoms inside of a little bowl and filled it with water. And about every 2-3 days I have to put more water in it because it soaks up all the water. And now, after, it's probably been going on 2 or 3 weeks, but these roots were very white, and now they look like they're starting to maybe get a little not mildew, but just, you know, they're not as white as they was. They're more brown than anything, but nonetheless they have roots on them. So I need to go ahead. This one does. Oh, it got a little baby root. We're gonna still plant it. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and plant these. And as you can see, when I cut the cabbage, it was at the bottom of a cabbage that I bought from the store. None of this was blossoming. It was just the end that I cut off. And so just by it sitting in water and getting those roots, it then started growing new pieces of a new plant. So we can replant that and then grow it over winter. And now that's one less cabbage I had to buy at the store. These were some spearmint pieces that I got and put in these little valves. Have a magnet on the back, and they go on this little wall art that I bought from this lady. And they had some roots coming in, but I think I done let them mold so bad. Might not be able to plant these because now I don't see a root in sight. I mean, not mold, but just dried out. The water ran out. Let's see if this one. Okay, this one got some hope. So this is so these I had in these valves in my room on a wall, not near sunlight. These have been sitting in this glass near a window. Wasn't necessarily getting full sunlight when I plant these. August 14. Wow, over a month ago. Just about a whole month ago. So I should have been took these out, but as you can see, these have beautiful white roots on them. They look hydrated. They got new mint leaves growing in at the bottom, so they are ready to be transplanted. Wow, look at these new mint leaves down here. Wow, they smell so good. This is spearmint, my favorite type of mint. And let me show you a mint plant that I already repotted. So this is one, we have a community garden out in Reedsville that I go to with Soul Society, and so they had a whole bunch of mint there that I snagged a few pieces off so I could come and propagate and do these videos for y'all. And this is a piece that I just clipped straight from the garden bed, and when I came home I immediately planted it in this soil. I haven't been doing any extra watering outside of maybe the basic watering we do in the backyard and the rain, and it's not standing up, it's drooping over, but the leaves have a lot more leaves have grown from the time that I picked it until now. So this was my tester of just planting it straight into, and this was my tester of same spearmint plant I clipped all these from. And this was my experiment of leaving it in a little live alkaline water glass bottle, filled it with water. That brown stuff is from the leaves turning brown. And yeah, so now these have roots on them, and so now I'm ready to replant them or plant them along with these cabbages that I let root. So let me basically show you what I'm gonna do. Let's get active. So I have a big thing of, this is just a big pot that I got some soil in, and this is another big pot that Ooh, it's kind of heavy. Hold on. This is all potting soil from different plants that we had throughout the season that I just dumped in here. I reuse my potting soil, or I have this summer. This is my first time doing so. You know, I buy my bags at the beginning of the season in spring or whatever. Stuff grows, stuff die, and so the stuff that didn't really make it, I just put them all in here, because sometimes when you're germinating seeds, the seeds just won't take, and so it doesn't necessarily mean the soil is bad or not useful. And then some things did produce plants, and I still throw them in here. So this is experimentation. I don't say do what I'm doing. I'm just showing you what I'm doing and what's been working for me. One of the downsides of reusing potting soil, old potting soil, and or old compost, is sometimes that the seeds or the root system of the last thing you planted somehow still survive. So this is a, oh Lord have mercy, this thing in the middle here is actually an avocado tree that's starting to grow. There was an avocado seed that I threw into my compost bin, and I saw it cracked and split open and this piece coming out, and so I planted it. And I used some old soil that I had previously used, and then I see these coming up. This is watermelon. First of all, watermelon season is on its way out, and it's 4 of these things in here. So I'll do this probably on this live too. Take these watermelon plants out, just see what comes up. I probably won't get any watermelons, but I just want this to focus on the energy going to the avocado tree, not the watermelon. So that's one of the downsides of reusing old soil. So you can always buy your own soil, but this is what I'm about to do today. I'm going to use this old soil from previous potting, and I'm going to mix with it, I already have some in this bucket, I'm going to mix with it compost. Compost is basically reducing, reusing, recycling your fruit and veggie scraps. So when I'm cooking and juicing and stuff in the kitchen, I have a Lowe's bucket like this that I keep outside of my kitchen on the porch with a top on it. Now you should put holes at the bottom. This one has holes at the bottom. For that one I don't, because it's quick scraps from the kitchen, and I'm tossing it in my compost so often. I don't want liquid and stuff draining out the bottom of that because it's on the porch. But basically what happens is you could leave your stuff in a bucket like this with a top on it, and it'll break down on its own, or you could take it and put it in a bigger compost pile or bin or whatever. So anywho, this is compost. So basically all my fruit and vegetable scraps that I've let sit, so it could take a few weeks to a few months, just depending on how much of what you got. And you want to mix carbon and nitrogen. So you can use grass clippings, you can use dried leaves, you can use cardboard. All of these things help to provide carbon and nitrogen to your soil and your fruit and veggie scraps, and the worms come in and everything break down and be real good. So I'm going to mix some of that with this old compost, and what that helps do is add some added nutrients to this old soil. So for all the plants that didn't survive or did have their day, and I want to reuse that soil because I'm being cheap, then I'm going to mix in some natural compost, which will help give it the nutrients that it needs. So let's do that. I don't want to do a whole bunch of talking. I just want to show y'all what's going on, because y'all know I talk, child. All right, so I'm going to add some of this old compost. Now you can use gloves, you know, if you ain't into all this, but I'm real raw and organic with it, so I don't mind using my hands. So I'm going to put, there's no ratio to this. I'm just mixing because I know I'm about to plant a few things. What I'm planting, like 5 cabbages and 3 spearmint plants, and then them 4 watermelons. So that's 4 or 5, that's 9, 10, 11, 12. So no, okay, I got at least 12, 13 things to plant. So that's the old soil. This is the compost from my fruit and veggie scraps. And this is so amazing to me, y'all. This came from, when we first moved here, we had a garden bed that wasn't being utilized, and I started putting fruit and veggie scraps in there, and then I just let it sit from like May until I think, was it August, that I had put some cardboard on top of it, and child, I went back, that thing was dirt. I was just so amazed. So all I'm doing now, I'm mixing this old soil with this compost so it can get all mixed in there real good. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So y'all get the gist. I just mixed it. All right, so now let's find some pots. Now, when you're starting seeds, I typically don't use the old soil and compost for seed starting. But if it's like transferring plants that have already rooted, I will. But sometimes for the starter seeds, I like to just use fresh potting soil purchased from the store, just so it get a fresh, hefty start. It's not competing with anything else that might be in the old soil or anything like that. So let's see. I got some cabbages, and as a farmer and entrepreneur, I know I might want to sell some of these, and I might want to keep some of these. So for the cabbage, I want kind of wide containers because they're gonna grow wide, and I don't want to do a whole bunch of transplanting. I don't want to have to keep moving them into bigger pots. So for right now, these are the pots that I'm working with. So you just fill your pot up. Gonna fill that thing up. It's almost to the top, not quite all the way. And then you make your little indentation big enough that you could stick your cabbage down in. As you can see, I got some roots on my cabbage that I bought from the store, chopped, put in a bowl, put some water in it, let it sit on a windowsill, and it just started growing roots. So within a week's time now, I got roots. So, and sometimes, you know, your plant and your transfers might not be successful, but it's worth the try because you never know. It might turn out great. So I put this in here, and I'll turn the camera around so y'all can see. This is basically, you know, I don't want it to cover it too much because more stuff is going to be growing, but all I did was make a little indentation, put that thing in there, and I'm going to just support it with some dirt around it and call it a day. I'm going to water all of these when I get done. So put that to the side. Same process. Fill your bucket up. And if you don't have compost, you could use, they have compost at the store you could buy. Or you could just get the regular potting soil from the store, from Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot. They got cheap brands, they got more expensive brands, whatever floats your boat based on what you read or whatever research you do. I usually always get the cheapest brand, and tends to work for me. Okay, so again, this is the bigger one that started growing leaves out of it, all them beautiful roots. So I'm gonna just make a little indentation big enough to stick this down in there and bow, and just cover the base of it with dirt and leave it be. And it's gonna continue to grow. Its roots are gonna spread out. Okay, so that was my cabbages. Let's move on to the spearmint. Since y'all saw that, this is the spearmint that I let sit in a glass jar for about I said August 14th, and I ain't, maybe I changed the water once. That's not really good, but it still survived. So, and this is the spearmint plant that I cut from a community garden and didn't put in water. I just put it straight into this pot, and look at how beautiful it's been growing. So I like to try to do things in different ways. So let's put the spearmint in this bucket. I gotta do my research. I think I could leave spearmint inside. I think it's one of those herbs where it can handle being indoors. I'm not completely sure, but I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna bring one inside, I'm gonna leave one outside. I got 3 to spare. All right, so here we go. Now, it is some new mint leaves growing at the bottom, but this is also where the roots are at. So I'm gonna make my indentation long enough. I dig my finger down a little deeper. Bring the camera. Okay, can y'all see? All right, bring my finger a little deeper. Stick my baby in there. And then cover it up. And you can put some more soil on top, which I think I'm gonna do, just to keep it a little stable, keep it from wobbling. And it still might lean over because this baby is leaning. And if I put it in the ground, it'll just spread everywhere. Mint do not play. Mint and lemon balm, they cousins. They in the same family. Child, they will grow on you, especially in the ground. They get so big and beautiful. So yeah, look at my spearmint. excited. Hey, I'm doing well. I'm teaching how to plant some stuff. So I'm not going to be doing a whole bunch of talking, but I'm doing amazing. Thanks for asking. So yeah, let's move on to the next spearmint plant. See how simple it can be, y'all? It can really be this simple. It could really be this simple. All right, so y'all got the gist of what to do with the spearmint. Let's move on to removing these watermelon plants from out of here and putting them in their own bucket. Matter of fact, I want to put them in a different type of bucket. Hold on. I'm gonna fill it up, put some more potting soil in here. Mix it with that compost. Okay, fill up my buckets. And this is easier too. If you know you got a lot of different things, if you just go ahead and fill up all your buckets first, instead of doing them individually, that could be easier on you as well. Two, three, one more. All right. Okay. So, let's get into it. This is the avocado tree that has watermelon invading its space. What I do with my little, here we go. All right, so I'm just going to, you might not can really see, but all I'm doing is digging down around. I'm gonna dig on the side and see that's the root system. So all I need to do is transfer this to another pot. So let's be gentle when we're doing this because we don't want to disrupt the roots too bad. And we also don't want to disturb this avocado tree. I've never done this before, so I'm hoping this watermelon doesn't grow back. I hope like no roots are still left that's going to cause it to grow. I think we'll be good though. I think we'll be good. All right, got them all out. Got them all out. So now, this is the avocado. And let me show y'all. This is what I threw in my compost. And so I saw this piece sprouting through it. And I was like, oh, let me plant it. And it's been in here about a month now, I think. And this is what's come of it. And it's going to continue to get big. It probably won't fruit or produce any avocado for a while. Fruit trees usually take years before they're ready. So the stuff we see in the stores, that was years worth of a farmer's labor. And so we are grateful. I'm just putting some more compost and soil in around this so that this avocado tree can have some stability. But yeah, we got those out of there. And now we're gonna repot them in a new container of its own. So we're gonna stick that down in there. And you know, they might survive, they might not. We're gonna see what happens with them because like I said, watermelon season is technically over. It's not gonna be too many more hot days for these to survive very long, but you never know. You never know. Gardening has a tendency to surprise you because banana trees, that's more of a tropical plant. Like stuff like banana trees and soursop and all, you know, all them plants you see in foreign places. And so a lot of their trees or fruit shouldn't really grow in our climate in North Carolina, but I've seen people posting recently about their banana trees starting to blossom and flower and stuff. So, you know, maybe after a certain point they can get acclimated to certain temperatures, or who knows, child. Who knows? So I think that was a great tutorial. Make it pretty quick. So we planted some cabbage, we planted some spearmint, and we repotted some watermelon that was growing inside of our avocado plant. So these are simple ways to go ahead and get started growing your own food, guys. Save your veggie scraps. I'm gonna give you 3 tips on how you can reuse your fruit and veggie scraps. So when you're juicing, or if you're making smoothies, or if you're just cooking with fruit and vegetables, with some of your fruit pulp when you juice, like your pineapples, you can save that and use it in baking recipes to make different cornbreads and cakes and things like that. With your vegetables, you could chop those up, your onion peels, your eggplant, your cucumber, whatever you're using that you're not going to put in your recipe, instead of throwing it away, consider putting it in a bucket like this, or some type of, it's all kind of nifty composting stuff you can find on Amazon. There's little kitchen ones you can leave on your counter, or you could buy a bucket like this. It's like $5 with a top on it, and put it outside, and when that fills, and you can leave the top on it and it'll decompose into dirt, or you could throw it into a pile like I do and let it all decompose, like the worms and the air get to it. Make sure you add some grass clippings, some dry leaves, cardboard, you put eggshells, things that'll help produce carbon and nitrogen so it can break down the fruit and veggie scraps and produce soil for you. And a third way that you can use your veggie scraps is by chopping them all up and putting them in a freezer bag, in a Ziploc bag. Put them in your freezer. When that bag is full, you'll take it out, you'll put it in a pot filled with water, and add some seasonings and let it boil. Once it's done boiling and it's seasoned, you strain that, get a colander or a strainer, strain the liquid out, save the liquid for a veggie broth, and then you can discard of the veggie scraps. You can either throw them in the trash, or the best way would be to compost them. Get y'all a $5 bucket and save y'all scraps and make some dirt. Even if you're not planting, it's an easy way. You could sell a compost, or you could give it to a friend that does gardening like myself. So I hope you guys learned something from this video, and hope you try something new in your gardening journey if you haven't already. All right, I'll check in with y'all again soon. Peace.